Hello and welcome to episode 344 of Sutton and Back Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and we're going to start with our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers today.
We just watched the
Uh,
game, so forgive us for jumping there. We just got a lot to talk about.
yeah, we got a lot to talk about, and it still boggles my mind that they're 6-3 now,
They're 6-3.
been outgained in every game,
Yeah,
and I forget it's ninth straight game they've won, but by one possession.
yeah. I mean, when it's close, they make plays. And right now, the
Yeah,
Steelers would be they're 6-3. They were a game behind Baltimore, but they beat Baltimore head to head as far as the division goes.
yeah,
And the only team with a better record in the entire conference is the 7-2 Kansas City Chiefs.
it's hard to believe.
Yeah, and they still have a negative 28 point differential, and they've been outgained yardage wise every single game. And then you would think, well, they must have a phenomenal defense, and the defense is the stats don't look great, but I think
Yeah,
they're
they're like 31st.
they're 31st. Yeah, they're like 29th against, and it just and yet somehow they keep winning.
Yeah,
I just since this is our Steeler minute and our Steeler talking time, like, and if you watch your favorite football team, like the Steelers seem to refuse to throw that 5 to 8 yard pass over the middle. Like,
yeah, they rarely throw over the middle, and when they do, they get past to George Pickens. They had that offensive interference penalty.
yeah, that was a really bad, pick play that the Patriots used to run. But yeah, it seems like they're making it so much easier on defense. A, by being predictable, and then B, by only throwing certain routes when you're passing. Like, you got an entire field, you need to utilize the entire thing. But yeah, I mean, they're 6-3, and it's pretty crazy. And Baltimore lost to Cleveland today, who's also 6-3.
And the Bengals lost, and what's their record?
5-4.
5-4.
Tied with the team that beat them, the Houston Texans, the shocking Houston Texans.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
And CJ Stroud threw his second pick of the year this week, so it was his roughest game yet. But that's a nice little team, the Texans. If I was a Texans fan, I'd be very excited for my team right now. And if I was a Patriot fan, I'd be very excited for the chance to play with Caleb Williams and Drake May for the next decade. As they dropped
Yeah,
another game, they lost 10-6 in Germany, right? In Germany this week,
right. Yeah.
in Germany to the Colts with Garner Minshew as their quarterback. And did you watch that game?
No, I did not watch it this morning.
We had it on in the background, luckily, and we didn't watch it. But they benched Mac Jones on the final drive with like 35 seconds left in the game, or under the
Why?
2 minute drill, and brought in Billy Zappi, who also threw a pick. I don't know. It just felt like a weird time to bench a quarterback, right?
35 seconds left. I'd say so.
Yeah, and anywhere under 2 minutes, so it seems like a weird time to be like, no, now you're done. So
Maybe with the Germans yelling, put in Zappy.
I think so. It is a fun word to say. So,
Yeah.
I guess we
Well,
look.
the 49er Jaguar game did not turn out to be the big contest everybody said it was going to be.
No, it was a draw. It looked like old school 49ers versus expansion team Jacksonville. Yeah, that Trevor Lawrence did not play well today. Nobody on that team did. And the 49ers, who had lost three straight, looked like a juggernaut again. I think Kittle had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Ayuk had a touchdown. The defense played well. Like, it was just a drubbing.
Yeah. A whooping.
A whooping. And, I guess we have to give our weekly shout out to Josh Dobbs, quarterback extraordinaire, who played fantastic for the Vikings today.
He really did. I mean, and you got to keep in perspective how long he's been there.
Josh Dobbs it's just everything about that situation is weird. Like, because as we talked about, he was on the Steelers. They drafted him. Um, he seemed like he was well liked. You watch him play, he's definitely athletic enough to run, right?
Yeah.
And yet he keeps ending up on different teams. Now, I know the Arizona thing is slightly different because you had Kyler Murray coming back. He's on that giant contract, and whether you want to move on from him or not, you're going to have to move that position, right? You can't keep that one out there. So maybe they were hoping that Kyler comes back, showcases him a little bit. Let's get some value for Josh Dobbs, who is a free agent. But it's weird that in a quarterback needy league, like he hasn't stuck around a little bit more. Like today, he was 23 of 34, 268 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and he ran 8 times for 44 yards and another touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a literal rocket scientist. He's only 28 years old, and he just never seems to stick.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out. I mean, but again, do you continually say, well, this guy would be good to have on our team, but he's not a starting quarterback?
Yeah.
And maybe now he's going to be embraced as a starting quarterback because he can actually impact this. He can impact Minnesota's fortunes this year.
Oh, without a doubt. And when you look around the league, as we've done before, like if you did an entire, if you look through the standings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You assume the Dolphins and Tua are pretty safe, and the Bills are pretty safe with their quarterback, right?
Right.
The Jets are probably looking. The Patriots are definitely looking. The Ravens are fine. The Bengals are fine. The Browns are stuck with Deshaun Watson. And I think the Steelers are a limbo team, right? I'm sure Pickett's going to come back, but I think bringing in somebody to compete. Then you got Tennessee. I guess they're going to see what Will Levis is. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not. You liked what you saw from Anthony Richardson for the 2 games before he got hurt for the season. The Texans seem really well set. And Jacksonville, I suppose, is set. Kansas City set. Chargers set. Then you got Raiders, Broncos.
I actually think Josh Dobbs is in a good situation.
Yeah. The Commanders probably...
Cousins isn't coming back.
Yeah. The Commanders quarterback. The Giants have a terrible quarterback. Green Bay looks a little shaky. I don't think the Bears have their quarterback. The Saints don't have their quarterback. The Falcons. The Bucks. Maybe not the Panthers. I mean, there's a lot of spots for a guy like Josh Dobbs.
Well, the Bears have their quarterback. He's currently playing for UFC.
Okay, yeah. All right. Or maybe North Carolina. You never know.
No, you never know.
Or the Bears would be the weird team that would draft like Bo Nix way early or something.
Although, but speaking about Bo Nix, we should, when we move on to college, we should talk about the Heisman a little bit too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, otherwise NFL.
I'm watching the Lions right now with the sound off, and they're killing my Chargers.
Not surprising.
No.
Did you see early in the first quarter? They got it on 4th and 5. They ran the football and got it. Yeah. 4th and 5. That's pretty crazy, no?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do a little college hoops, or college football, not hoops, sorry. I know hoops has started, but college football.
Well, I got to start off with my wine, since my Oklahoma State Cowboys got crushed 45-3.
Yeah.
And what I said, all week I was dreading the game. And I said, they've got 3 games left with 3 teams with non-winning records. I said, they're going to stub their toe on one of those teams. They didn't stub their toe. They cut off their foot.
Yeah, I was like, 45-3, isn't he? Because, I mean, typically your team ends up losing 42-38 in overtime, right? That's the game they blow the bad team. They don't get their doors just blown off and embarrassed. So
that's 2 games this year. South Alabama beat them 30-something-7 in this game. And then, you look at everything else. But here's the crazy thing. If they win out, unless they're tied with Iowa State, they'll play in the championship game.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. And then Ollie Gordon, they were talking about maybe he'll get invited to New York.
Yeah.
He had 28 yards, and the guy for UCF had 209.
Yeah, that game, I mean, as a UCF alum, it was kind of nice. But at the same time, that game was just bizarre to watch.
Weird game. That was a bizarre game. And the people behind me were saying, oh, we're going to fold in the second half. I said, you won't even need to play in the second half.
Yeah. Exactly. I was like, there's folding in the second.
We had Georgia, Mango, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be a closer game, but I should know better. It was at Georgia. Alabama crushes Kentucky. So Alabama's just going to be sitting in that 5 or 6 role until, we see what happens. Because we know that, there's still some tough games on the West Coast. Michigan still has to play Ohio State.
Yeah. Yes. There's only 5 undefeated teams right now, and it's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida. Well, not 5. There's more than 5, but of the teams that really actually have a chance, it's Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, and Washington are all sitting undefeated right now.
Yep, and I know who you're talking about Liberty and
James Madison.
And interestingly enough, shout out to James Madison because they are going to be on game day next week.
I know, it's crazy. It's awesome.
It's the best.
You like to see those stories where James Madison pops up and gets on game day, and
it's a great story.
And again, they're sitting at 19 and 20 in the polls right now, so they're getting the recognition too, which is nice.
Yeah.
And somebody in the college poll, the coaches poll, Oklahoma State hung on to number 25.
They're 23 in the AP.
Yeah.
So I thought they would drop all the way out.
I did too. They have 3 losses and they got destroyed. That's almost just...
Oregon beat USC.
Yeah.
And Arizona, who's a real hot team now for some reason, beat Utah, and Utah has been fading.
Yeah, they're 7-3 now on the way. Yeah.
But everybody's darling when you bet the under Iowa. I think Iowa won 12-0. And I think the talking heads said that was the under to bet. And then one of them bet there wouldn't be a touchdown in the game. I think it was 4 field goals. I think it was 12-0.
Yeah, so it's shaping up. I guess Jim Harbaugh is not coaching currently. He got 3 games, right?
Right. And, he'll probably win his appeal. It's a Michigan judge.
Yeah.
So he'll probably coach the last 2 games. Really, they did everything they would have done if he was there.
Exactly.
So except for an emotional lift, it's the same thing. And it's like, them against the world, and they're jumping all over that and loving that. I'll be interested to watch them play Ohio State, see what happens.
I'm very excited for that game.
I think Penn State wins my most overrated team, and they're still ranked 12th.
Yeah, well, they've only lost twice somehow, so.
Yeah, to 2 good teams.
Yeah, that's what helps, is if, it's like, but technically, I'm like, they've only lost twice, and it does feel like, with a team like Oklahoma State with their 3 losses and Penn State with their 2 who've looked less than impressive at different points during the season, it seems like if you were ranked pretty high at one point, they're very hesitant to move you, because then it makes them look dumb, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. But he's 3-17 against top 10 teams.
Yeah, it's probably not going to
But the biggest news of all college football is that Texas A&M is going to fire Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah.
And they owe him $76 million. That's the most ludicrous buyout, which they put themselves in a position to do, because they extended him a couple years ago and there was no reason to extend him.
None.
But $76 million, and you're gonna just pay him and then hire somebody else.
It's a nice retirement package for Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah. So I know if I'm Texas A&M, I know who I'm going after. I'm going after Coach Leopold at Kansas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's who I'm going after. But we'll see what they do. And, he might not leave. He's in a good situation. If he wins 7, 8 games a year and occasionally 9, he's golden.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Interesting times, that's for sure.
Yeah. Are you watching the more tournament results, Dad, for the midseason tournament?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I think the courts are,
you're watching something different when you tune into the game when that's the court,
which
right?
is what they want you to know.
Which is what they want you to know.
But I think it's hard to play on a court that's that dark.
Yeah, and as we talked about last week, every time I remember growing up, I'd go on ESPN when they would rank the 20 ugliest uniforms, and they would be my 20 favorite. So I feel like I'm normally in that taste range. These ones aren't working for me, these courts.
No.
I think they could have gone like much more like mascot city oriented courts for this kind of thing. You know, like I don't know, make it look cool. Just less whatever this is because I'm not a fan of this. And the uniforms themselves
Are you
are.
playing Montgomery?
What's that?
Do you have Montgomery in your fantasy lineup?
I do.
I think he just went 80 yards for a touchdown.
That sounds about right. Live fantasy updates for people that are very excited, I'm sure.
A one-play drive.
Yeah, that's nice. They have a really nice 1-2 punch. They're Detroit.
I take it back, Jason. It's only 75.
Okay, well, I'll have to live with that. Detroit looks pretty good.
And they're, did he go out of bounds?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But back to the NBA. The Philadelphia 76ers, sans James Harden, are 7-1 right now, and they have the best record in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and they look really, really good, and they look like they're having fun playing basketball.
Yeah.
And again, you can't overemphasize that.
No.
They don't have all the drama. I just think it's a good thing. I mean, I'm happy for them. I know that Embiid, this is critical. If they don't produce,
Yeah.
He'll look elsewhere because
He has to. He's
it's a shot.
30 or 31 right now. He's got a history of injuries, and he's a 7-foot, 300-pound man. Like, you just don't get that long of a career at that size. But yeah, I mean, and you look at the way Harden's playing. Like, Harden never wants to play the kind of basketball you can play with Philadelphia playing right now, with the pace and the movement and not stalling the ball. They look really good, and I agree with. I've seen a lot of talking heads speaking to Daryl Morey, sending him a message of, whatever you planned on doing with what you got for Harden, don't chase a star. Chase, one or two nice role players, round this team out, and then you're good to go.
Yep.
Like, don't go after whoever it is, Zach LaVine or somebody. Like, just, bring yourself a backup big and another nice wing to just, be able to throw out there defensively, and you should against the Celtics. You should be good. Who are also looking really good at 7-2.
So it's looking really good. The Timberwolves are looking good.
And the other East team I think that's been surprising is the Indiana Pacers, right?
Very much so.
6-3. I think they have the best. They have a really nice point differential. They're putting up a lot of points, and they're very. And Halliburton looks like a legit star for that team.
He looks playing really well. It looks like the Wemby highlights have kind of settled down.
Yeah, the New York game
because
was
it's the team. The team's not going to be that good this year.
No, and the Knicks put it on them.
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, I mean, and the Knicks crowd. I mean, I've been to enough Knicks games in New York and enough NBA games around the country. The Knicks fans are they kind of are the best fans in the NBA.
That's a real sincere home court advantage.
It is. I mean, they don't need, they just got the organ there, which is awesome. It's not as many explosions and lights and team things and team dancers and team t-shirts. Like, it's just, sort of an old school basketball game, and that crowd loves like, you can tell, like, they're on top of things. And, they gave Wemby a little razzing, which was kind of funny. So
yeah. But I mean, he's good, but I mean, they're not going to be all that. And I'm a little disappointed in Oklahoma City. I thought they would be a little bit stronger. They started off well, but they've blown some games.
Yeah.
But they played some tough opponents, too.
They have. And I really like Chet and his aggressiveness. And I like, Shea and the Williamses and Giddey. That team is really good, but they have no size. And they're getting crushed inside. Because Chet is 7 feet tall, but he's maybe
Chet is a 2.
Yeah.
Maybe a 3. He's not a 4. He's not a 5.
No, he's I mean, you love his aggressiveness, but yeah, they need to add somebody. And the team that has a lot of size that's also impressive is, like you said, the Timberwolves.
Yeah. They're playing well, and, the Ant-Man is really, really coming into his own.
Offensively and defensively.
With him.
Both sides of the floor. He plays defense. And, he's got, the corny thing to say, but he's got the dog in him. Like, that guy just goes all out. And he's just been very impressive. What do you think about the other shocking team, the 5-3 Houston Rockets?
it's one of those things, Jay. There's no pressure.
No.
There's no pressure to play at all. I mean, to win. I think you can be relaxed. I think they have some nice pieces. They're just really, really young.
But I mean, when you add Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, he played really well in the whatever those games he played for Canada were, the international competition, and between that and Şengün grew a little bit, and Şengün is really good.
And Dylan Brooks gets up to play big games.
He does, and he is annoying.
And take on big players.
Yeah. And then obviously a big shout out to the 8-1 Denver Nuggets, who look really, really good.
The team that everybody will take for granted. I mean, they're very, very good. They're not, you can't sleep on them. I mean, they're going to be there when it's all over.
And I think, like a lot of people, Steelers receivers with Ben Roethlisberger and receivers now with Mahomes and receivers with Brady. I like Bruce Brown, but it did seem like the media wanted to give Bruce Brown just way more credit. And he would be a bigger loss for them than he is, Mm-hmm. And we'll see come playoff time, because Bruce Brown balled out during playoff time. But it seemed like everybody went a little crazy thinking that, like, losing Bruce Brown was going to be the biggest problem with this team. And it doesn't seem to be. And then the Mavs, the 7-2 Dallas Mavericks, who haven't really played anybody, but kind of impressive, right?
More so. I thought they would struggle with Kyrie and Luka.
Yeah.
I really did. I didn't see this kind of production. But, Kyrie has the talent. It's just a question of the attitude.
Yeah. And it was also a question of fit, because you're worried about two guys that are both high-usage guards with the ball in their hands. And while they're both excellent passers, that's really not what they're, out there to do, I guess, right?
Well, I really enjoy watching Luka play.
Yeah.
It's like watching Larry Bird. It's same player, just with more physical gifts than Larry Bird had.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think he lacks Larry Bird's killer instinct.
Yeah. Oh, did you see, this will tie in our first segment to this segment, did you see LeBron James's quote about the Steelers?
No.
He said, this is before they went on their couple losing game streak, when the Lakers were winning, he said, we're like the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's like, no one's quite sure how it's happening, but we keep winning, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true, too.
It is, yeah.
True.
Zero lies detected, as they say. Yeah, it was one of those crazy, I just enjoyed it. I mean, LeBron is obviously a giant sports fan. He's paying attention.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Well, let's talk Heisman.
Okay.
So, according to Talking Heads this morning, Bo Nix is the favorite right now.
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy given his career, right?
Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Caleb Williams is kind of fallen off, so he's not in the conversation anymore.
Yeah.
None of the Colorado players are in the conversation anymore. So it's Bo Nix and Penix. And I think that's going to be it. I think it's going to be a two-man race.
I think, if Penix leads Washington to an undefeated season into the college playoffs, I feel like it's his, right?
I would think so.
I mean, it's kind of what you could imagine. I mean, it's hard to imagine, that's not, it's not where it's going, I guess. That's a storybook, even though they write, injuries, everything else, blah, 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 leads his team undefeated into the playoffs with the big boys. People like stories.
And he played how many years at Indiana? 3?
3. And then he missed a year with injuries, and then now he's back. It's a good, there's a good narrative there. But if Bo Nix, if they win with Bo Nix and, Michigan, Ohio State, it's a blowout one way. Probably Ohio State blows out Michigan. Nobody's going to want to vote for Michigan this year. Oregon wins the Pac-12 somehow, and, there you got your Bo Nix story, I guess.
Yeah. Oregon State is in the top 10 now, too.
Yeah.
So Oregon has to play Oregon State yet. I don't know if Washington's played Oregon State or not.
I don't know. We're getting towards the end.
real interesting matchups coming up. Real interesting.
Indeed.
What else we got? Well, we'll be talking about Ohtani signing with somebody probably in the next week or so.
And who's your? Do we have any buzz?
The latest buzz seems to be the Cubs, but I just can't see him leaving the West Coast. I could be totally wrong on this. I just think he'd prefer to stay on the West Coast. So the question is, would he sign with the Dodgers? And I hope not is my answer to that. As a fan, I would like to see him either go with Seattle or San Francisco.
I really like the San Francisco fit. That's a cool ballpark.
Cool ballpark. And I like Seattle. It's a really nice young team, and he
Yeah.
could have a real impact on that team.
Yeah, the Dodgers just feels like the rich getting richer, kind of just a boring. Just add another,
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon me, coughing quite a bit today. I guess we're down to entertainment and food.
Mom and I've been watching Bosch, and I think we got our last two episodes are. I don't think they come out till next week. But it's been fun. It's been fun watching Bosch. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I watched. What else have we been watching?
We watched another frustrating cult show called the Twin. You're familiar with Twin Flames?
No.
All right. So Twin Flames is basically. There's a guy that tried to be an influencer in like 2010, didn't work out. Tried to sell cancer cures, didn't work out. So then he and his wife started Twin Flames, which is basically soulmates, but they call it Twin Flames.
Okay.
And so they started doing online courses. And then they did sort of the pyramid scheme of, you seem like you're doing really good. Why don't you become a coach? And in order to be a coach, you need to take these classes in order to stay a Twin Flame and be part of our group. But eventually, they did go full-on cult, where they were eventually going to get a place. They started assigning people their Twin Flame, including making some people change genders to fit their insulated community. But I need to watch a cult show where I can find a cult leader that I could get behind, at least in terms of their charisma, I just don't. I keep watching like Keith Raniere from Nexium and this idiot from Twin Flame, and I'm like, and the guys from that Sarah Lawrence College, and I'm like, well, there's got to be somebody. It's sort of like the presidential election where you're just like, this guy, this is what we got. Like,
Yeah.
I understand people are sad and desperate and looking for answers and connections, and they'll look wherever they can find them. But you would just think there'd be more.
I couldn't believe the Keith Raniere. I mean, Keith Raniere was hard to accept.
This guy's the same way. He's just this little dorky guy, and you're just like, this guy. He's not even good at volleyball,
Yeah.
Because again, I'm watching, trying to empathize, and again, like I said, I live in the world we live in, and I get people's needs for something real, but it's pretty sad. I don't know. But this guy also he just had a Jesus complex and sort of just went crazier and crazier. But they did almost all their entire culting online, so.
Oh. That's interesting because you would think you need to have that chemistry kind of thing there.
Yeah. I mean, he eventually was, when they sort of they didn't get taken down because they couldn't really prove, there was no underage people involved. And, I think they actually did their taxes correctly.
Okay.
So then it was a bunch of adults that did stupid things, but he was trying to buy this farm in upstate Michigan and have everybody come live on the farm. And then for the same-sex couples, he made a lot of women pair up because there was a lot of women in this cult. And he was going to be the only one that could be their donor. So eventually he was going down the typical cult road. But in the beginning, it was just he and his wife doing like YouTube videos where he would insult people half the time. And I'm like, how does this work? Like, why
would this work? Yeah.
Because I'm like, Twin Flames is just soulmates or whatever L. Ron Hubbard said with volcanoes. Like, it's just recycled material,
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. What else? I'm getting ready to read the new Michael Connelly book, Resurrection Walk. And I'm excited about that. He's combining his Lincoln Lawyer character and his Bosch character in one book.
Ooh, that is exciting.
So I think that's going to be kind of cool.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. And I also picked up a book. I forget, the Bro Murders, I think it's called. It's about this fraternity. It's like one of those true crime.
Yeah.
The College of Charleston. They had this national drug smuggling thing and a fraternity and all this other stuff, and eventually a couple murders. And I thought, man, I got to read this.
Yeah, where's that
so
documentary?
I got it, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay. I was like, where's that documentary? I need that one.
That's a good question. Maybe I don't know if there's a documentary yet or not, but the book is out. Yeah. And my food moment is the absolutely phenomenal breakfast at the Townhouse in El Vido. And I hadn't been there in a few years, and went back and had my Virginia ham and eggs, real nice thick slice of ham, great taste, nice potatoes, and outstanding biscuits and gravy. Nice,
very nice.
Yeah, so that was a great meal. I love breakfast, but I hadn't been there for a while, so it was really, really special. It was good.
Nice. Well, we went to World Market. You ever go to World Market?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have all these international chips and candies, and we did get these weird Japanese chicken wing chips.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that secret formula is, they ate the first one, and it tasted a little bit like a packet of ramen seasoning. So there was some chicken in there, but I was like, no, I'm done. I don't want any more. And then it had that weird, whatever that formula in your mouth is that the scientists figured out. Because even though I didn't really like the chip, I did want to keep eating the chips. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whatever that combination of sour, sweet, spicy on the tongue, like it somehow was like, wait, this does kind of work.
Oh, we actually did go back to Quality Food Market that I talked about before.
Yeah.
And I had homemade pasta with sweet sausage, ground up real fine, like you have on pizza.
Oh, I know, yeah.
And it was delicious. And they had hot and they had sweet. And I thought the next time I go, I'm going to have them combine them. But the sweet was pretty good with the red pepper flakes kicking it up. But that was another great meal there.
Okay. And I did watch one more. I watched a movie on Hulu that was pretty funny. We did watch Quiz Lady, the new...
I saw the previews for that.
Quiz Lady was pretty good, but a much better movie. I want to say it was called Open Road. It may be a little bit much for people because it's about these two sisters that have to go on a road trip during the pandemic to get their grandma out of a nursing home that's filling up with people dying. It's a comedy. I know that sounded like not a comedy, but it is a comedy. Their performances were fantastic and it was really funny. I know some people may not want to relive COVID right now, but...
No, probably not. It's still sensitive, but, anytime you can make people laugh, it's a good thing.
Yeah. And it was really funny. Like I said, the two women that were the sisters, they just had outstanding chemistry. They also wrote the script, and then kind of in a cool way, at the end of the movie, they showed all these home movies of them doing acting stuff from the time they were 5 together.
Yeah.
So they've been these lifelong 20-year friends that finally got their movie out, and they wrote this one, they starred in it, and it's really good. I wish I could remember the name off the top of my head, and I can't seem to log into my Hulu right now. So,
Well, I'd also recommend the opening of Saturday Night Live last night.
Oh, the Trump one.
The Trump roasting the candidates was pretty good. And then Timothy Chalamet?
Timothy Chalamet, yeah.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good.
Yeah, he was good the first time he was on too. So yeah.
Yeah, he had a great monologue, and he was really good at some of the skits. I was very entertained.
I was kind of shocked because he was promoting, obviously Dune 2, but also Willy Wonka. I thought his Willy Wonka movie already came out and people hated it.
I thought she's coming out now. I just saw previews for it.
Yeah. I remember people were mad that what's his face? Hugh Grant is playing the Oompa Loompa.
I didn't know that.
And there was the big debate as to whether a tall person can play an Oompa Loompa or whether an Oompa Loompa is a real thing in real life, so who cares who plays it. So it was a whole thing.
Well,
But he does seem pretty likable, so, good for him.
well, think about what's coming up. We got a lame Sunday night game and a lame Monday night game.
Yes, we do. That's why we figured it didn't
But
hurt.
a very good Thursday night game.
Yeah.
I think Thursday is the Bengals and Ravens.
And a lot of implications as both those teams lost today.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
It really, really is. And the Browns kind of came alive today, which was scary because Deshaun Watson didn't look terrible. And he made a couple of those old school Deshaun Watson plays today.
And didn't they come back, too, because they were down, right?
They did. I mean, he had a really big scramble for like 20 yards, like sort of Deshaun Watson style, and you were like, oh yeah, that's the guy they wanted. Again, we haven't seen it consistently yet, so it's not him, but I mean, it's just something to keep an eye on. All right, I guess that does it this week.
Yeah.
We'll probably be back next week, and then we'll see about the Thanksgiving weekend.
We'll figure out when we're going to do that.
Yeah, we may miss that one, but we'll see.
All right, everybody, have a good week.